What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we are going to preview the 2024 schedule for the LSU Tigers here in this video. Before we get to 2024, let's look back at 2023. Here is the schedule from last season. You can see Florida State, of course, in the non-conference. That was a huge game. LSU lost to Ole Miss, lost to Alabama on the road. Fairly predictable. You lose your two toughest road games, although they did beat Missouri, so that was a really good road win for them. They took care of business in all their home games. And then again, you had Florida State in the non-conference. Pretty tough game there. Wound up, I guess really that game kept LSU out of a New Year's Six bowl. If they had won that game, they probably would have been ahead of Missouri, since they beat them head-to-head, and we would have seen LSU in a New Year's Six bowl. But anyways, a tough schedule with Florida State in the non-conference, and then having to play Missouri out of the East, and then also they played out of the East Florida, who they play every year. But no more East and West in the SEC. This is the schedule for 2024. Before we go game by game, let's break it down. We'll start with the non-conference. They play USC in Las Vegas. That'll be a fun matchup there. Nicholls. Also, they play UCLA. So all right, this is going to sound weird, but two Big Ten teams, not two Pac-12 teams, two Big Ten teams from the state of California. And then they'll play South Alabama. So, two pretty easy games and two pretty tough games. Very respectable non-conference schedule. Their home schedule looks like this: Nicholls, UCLA, South Alabama, and then Ole Miss, Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma. So remember, Ole Miss and Alabama, the two teams that beat them in the SEC last year. This year, they'll play those two teams again, and they'll play them at home. So a revenge opportunity when those two. Vanderbilt, you always like playing them, obviously, and then Oklahoma at home. So three big games: Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oklahoma, all at home. That is good news there for LSU. And then you look at the road schedule. USC, not a road game. I mean, technically, it's a neutral site game. Then they get South Carolina and Arkansas on the road. You don't mind playing those teams really on the road, because LSU should be much better than those teams. And then Texas A&M, that'll be a tough one on the road. And then Florida also on there, which is a lot of times that's a pretty tough game there. But all in all, maybe you switch Texas A&M and Vanderbilt, and then you get your four toughest games at home and your four easiest games on the road, and then it would be perfect. But overall, yes, the home and away does work out pretty well for LSU. They will open up on Sunday, September the 1st. That'll be a Sunday game there, just like they played last year on Sunday. They'll play USC in Las Vegas. That is going to be a big game, huge non-conference matchup there. Then they play Nicholls after that on the 7th, and then it's South Carolina on the 14th, first road game. First true road game, and then UCLA on the 21st, and South Alabama on the 28th. So you look at their month of September, you've got USC and UCLA, the non-conference, and you've also got a road game in the SEC. So I mean, that's a pretty tough start to the season there compared to a lot of teams. But all games that LSU has a good shot to win. And then you get a bye week after South Alabama before Ole Miss. Again, a revenge game. That's going to be a huge game there. Ole Miss expected to be really good again. And then they'll play Arkansas on the road on the 19th. Back-to-back road games. After Arkansas, they go on the road to face Texas A&M. That could be a really, really tricky game there. Not playing them at the end of the season. Instead, they play them at the end of October. And I hate how they're doing LSU and Oklahoma at the end of the season. I said this in another video. I really felt like they should have done LSU versus Arkansas at the end of the season and then put Oklahoma versus Missouri. But they didn't go that route. I don't know why. But anyways, you got back-to-back road games there before a bye week. Then you get Alabama at home. And then it's on the road at Florida. Back home for Vanderbilt. And home in the finale against Oklahoma. So you like the bye weeks. They're before Ole Miss and Alabama. Two really big games. And then as far as opponents, those are the two toughest opponents they'll play. I think that Texas A&M game, though, could be a little bit... could be maybe tougher because it's on the road. And it's after a road game against Arkansas. And so that one could be maybe their toughest game. But again, you got back-to-back road games there, Arkansas and Texas A&M. But with the bye weeks, you don't have any real tough stretches. You've got back-to-back out South Carolina and UCLA. You've got the toughest stretch is probably going to be Ole Miss at Arkansas and at Texas A&M. And especially with Ole Miss and Texas A&M, those are going to be tough games. So a tough stretch there. And then closing things out with Alabama, Vanderbilt, Florida, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma. Those final four games will be pretty tough. But all in all, this schedule is not horrible. It's a tough schedule, but it's not the worst. And a lot of big games at home, I think that's going to give LSU a chance to possibly have a really good year in 2024.